Rev up your engines!
Well, people go a long way to save money. I don't think I go this far, but there was a person in Lansing, Michigan. They wanted a Ford Maverick, and they found through loopholes in what Ford was doing, they were able to order 2 of them with no money down. So what the person did was bought the first one, then in a short period of time, while they were waiting for the second one, because the second one had all the luxury that they wanted, and the first one didn't have it, and they made some Ford excuse, as they say here. Because of a quirk in Ford's ordering system, I was able to order 2 Ford Mavericks and resell one of them, lowering the price a ton. She bought one, didn't like it because it didn't have everything she wanted. Then she sold that back to another dealership at a profit, and then bought the second one with the money she made and the deal she cut with Ford. The loaded Lariat cost her $26,230. This is an XLT. Okay, I've seen people pay $35 up for one of those things, right? So there are ways you can do things to try to save money. I don't know if I'd go as far as this person did. That's just craziness, you know. Buy one, well, order 2, then sell the other one back to another Ford dealer, and then get the one you want with the money you saved. Now, she did save a lot of money, but it was an awful lot of hassle. And realize this, it took a long time because of the ordering process of Maverick. As the woman said, it wasn't a perfect experience, but I learned a lot. I wouldn't go through all that trouble in person. I would not buy a product made in Mexico. The quality just isn't that good. With the problems that cars are having, I wouldn't have bought a Maverick in the first place. But people will go to extremes, try to figure out how to save money, and this person did. Well, I'm going to give you the top 10 cars that get speeding tickets. So if you own one, you might take your pedal off the metal for a while, drive a little slower. Now, here's the list. Number 1, Infiniti are the most ticketed cars. 2 is Scion, which is kind of funny. They're little cars, but people drive them fast, right? 3 is Volkswagen. 4 is Subaru. 5 is Mazda. 6 is Audi. 7 is Kia. 8 is Honda. 9 is BMW. 10 is Hyundai. Interesting, right? Unless I'm losing my mind, these are all import cars, foreign cars. I think the police, a lot of them, they don't like the idea of foreign cars sold in the United States. Most of them are driving American-made police vehicles, right? They don't like the idea of it, obviously, to give them tickets. Now, Infiniti makes sense to me because those are fast luxury cars. Generally, people who buy fast luxury cars don't care about anything but themselves. So, you know, they'll speed. They don't care. It means nothing to them. But the interesting thing was, those are brands, right? Those are the car brands. As for the numero uno top car, that was the BMW i3 electric car. 17.6% of its drivers have citations. Infiniti as a brand at number 1, that's only 8.7. That's more than twice as much. People are buying these electric BMWs, they're driving like lunatics. People in BMWs do anyways. And electric cars, they're too fast. They're just too fast because they got all their power, they're going to use it, and now they're getting speeding tickets. Well, it's bad enough that they got to pay higher rates because it costs more money to fix electric cars, but they're going to pay even higher rates now because they're going to have speeding tickets on their record, raising their rates even higher. Now, see this picture? Guy's putting a towel on a Tesla supercharger. And they're saying, you can put a wet towel on a Tesla supercharger handle to get faster charging speeds. Now, you probably can, but should you? Let's look at the facts. The problem is, when you're supercharging something, a ton of electricity is going through. And that's the connection. That's where the charger plugs into your car. Wherever there is a connection, there's always some resistance in the plug, so it gets hot. Well, when they get hot, the computer's on board both the car and the charger. The charger isn't a toaster you plug into the wall. It is a computer module too, and they measure each other. And if they see it, there's getting too much heat in that line, they lower the charging rate. So if you put a wet towel on the thing, that cools it off, right? But should you be putting a wet towel on a high voltage thing? These things are sitting out in the rain. What if there's a little short in it? Put a wet towel on it. That's the end of your life. You're going to be electrocuted, right? I mean, and people are suggesting that you do this, right? Now, some of the newer ones don't need it because some of the new ones are actually cool. The lines have cooling system in them. And they need to if they're going to take that much electricity. People don't comprehend. The original Toyota Priuses had a big problem with their motor generators burning out because the things weren't cooled correctly and they overheated and melted and warped. Toyota figured out how to fix that problem, and that's worked out quite well, right? And a lot of electric cars, they use the heat pump system to cool the motors in the batteries. The heat pump can put out air conditioning, it can put out heat. So in the winter when it's really cold, it can warm up the electric parks. And in the summer when it's hot, it can cool them down, right? Well, the earlier superchargers didn't have anything but the wires coming out. And those wires get hot, the computer sees it, lowers your charging. And sometimes it'll cut it in half. Guy tried this thing. He had one that was putting out like 68, and then it went to like 138 when he put the wet towel on because it cooled it down. It let it charge it faster. But I gotta say, putting a wet towel on an electrical lead wire where it plugs into your car, maybe not the smartest idea on earth. Of course, these are Tesla drivers, not exactly people who have looked at things logically and went out and bought the car because it was a great deal. Oh, it's going to save the planet, right? Spending a whole bunch of money on something. And if you got to put a wet rag on your charge on your car to make it fill up faster, something's wrong with this whole charging scenario and the electric cars in general. Lane Cat says, should I sell my end-of-lease vehicle to CarMax? I got a 2021 VW Jetta with a 39 months lease. What do you think? Should I purchase the car at the end of the lease for $10,825, then sell it? Or should I just get rid of it and then lease a Camry? Okay, well, the Camry's a good idea. I believe in buying myself because you lease, you have endless payments. You buy a Camry, it might last you 20, 30 years. And then you won't have payments for a long time, right? But definitely, you want to get rid of the Volkswagen regardless, right? But you say your payout's $10,825. Before you pay it out, take it to CarMax. See what they offer you on it, right? They offer you more money than that. Go ahead. Buy it and then sell it to them. Why not? You know, a lot of people do that kind of stuff. Do not, under any considerations, buy that Jetta, though. They're junk as they age, right? So don't buy it. You're smart to get rid of it. And if you can make money, hey, before you give it in on a lease, just take it to CarMax. Say, what do you give me for this? And they'll give it in writing. They give it in writing, right? But if it's more money than that, go ahead and do it. A lot of people do these days. These prices are still relatively high. And CarMax is just a pass-through car lot anyways. All they do is buy everything they get their hands on and then mark them up and sell them at a higher price. They don't care if they overpay. If they know they can sell that thing for 15 grand, they'll pay you more than 10 probably, and then you can get money for it. If not, don't. Just give it into them and don't buy the stupid thing. Well, you saw that all Elon Musk and Tesla said they're going to slow down on building their Tesla superchargers. Well, what is going to happen to the federal money that Tesla won to build the superchargers that he's not building now? Well, the government gives a horse manure explanation. To start out with, Tesla won funding for $28.8 million of our taxpayer dollars to build these chargers that he hasn't built yet, right? But now he laid off a bunch of his supercharger people, right? Says, well, we're not going to build so many of them, right? So here's what the government says about this. Our money that went there, right? Biden administration officials told Inside EVs that they don't expect Tesla's retreat to impact the plans to expand across America. And here is their information. This is a quote from a spokesman for the Joint Office of Energy and Transportation that gave all this money to Tesla and other companies, right? They gave away billions. And I quote, because NEVI provides a grant to states which run competitive procurements to select vendors, we don't expect individual business decisions to impact EV charging projects funded by the bipartisan infrastructure law. Look, old Elon's got the money. He's not going to give it back, and they're not even asking for it back, right? It's patently absurd. We're talking about a totally absurd situation here. Let's face the facts. They're getting this money. They said they're not going to build as many now, but then the government says, we don't expect individual business decisions to impact our charging projects funded by the government. Doublespeak, blah, 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 blah. All I say is follow the money. He got promised this money, they gave him the money, and he didn't build this stuff. Well, we don't think it's going to really affect, but it's done through the states, even though the feds gave him money, blah, blah, blah. Always blame the other person for your mistake, right? Typical electric car horse manure. Well, as higher paying jobs are getting harder and harder to get, people are being laid off. I just met quite a few people here on the East Coast have been laid off recently. Guess what? More Americans are looking to get extra money driving for Uber and Lyft. This is a big reason. I say not only are self-driving cabs was a stupid idea. People are making money driving cars. If the robots take over, these people wouldn't be able to do that. Think about all the people that are trying to make a little money on the side. Something happens, they got to pay bills, they'll start hustling and drive for Uber and Lyft for a while. Now, these people probably aren't going to do it permanently, but it's a good fail-safe for people to make some money quick. People have cars, they got insurance, so they can drive around. Everybody's got a cell phone to do the apps with, right? This whole thing about spending billions to make these stupid self-driving cars that won't probably be for decades in the future that they'll actually work, but why do it? You're taking jobs away from people that need the money, right? I mean, does anybody even think of the end run of this? We can make self-driving cars, it won't make a fortune, blah, 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 blah. Who's going to put the money into the infrastructure of building those stupid things? And then you're taking jobs away from people. A lot of people are doing this now, driving Uber and Lyft to make money on the side, to make ends meet for a while. And hey, why do you want robot taxis to take over? These corporate guys, again, dead from the neck up. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.